Alright, a new, what do you call it, like brainstorming video of the patch notes that was released, well, today. On my part, that is, living in Europe. And I think it's 2 weeks ago I made a build based on Tawhoas tending, which was a 1-button build, and you just spammed away shockwave totems like it was no day tomorrow. And whenever that totem died, it exploded and dealt like 40 to 60,000 physical flat damage, and you shot it out like 4 to 5 times a second. In 0.4, they kinda nerfed it to the ground with, well, they changed his support gem, cirels cultivation. So before it was based on limit, and now it's based on nearby totems instead. So it kind of made this build kind of impossible to play. In the upcoming patch, if you read the patch notes, they changed Ancestral Bond. Keystone passive skill now causes placing totems to have no cost and not require consuming charges to place. It still causes totem to reserve 75 spirit each, and now doubles totem limit instead of removing it completely. So before, we wanted to have a limit of 4 totems to get the most out of the previous cirels cultivation, which is stated up to maximum 4 limit. But now we want 5 totems in radius. Well, technically 6, but let's just do 5. So 5 times 75 is 375 spirit. 6 if we want maximum is 450 spirit. So this requires a lot more spirit investment to get the most out of cirels cultivation, because you want 5 totems in radius plus the totem we want to spam. How do we get to this point? Well, we only need 3 limit. So the easiest way to get to 3 would be just do Warbringer for +1 and +1 here. Then we're on +3. Technically, they added a buff to Soul Mantle as well. I changed it in the PoE. So before it had, I think it was less life, was it? Soul Mantle. Reduce totem life, yeah. That's gone, and they added 75 flat spirit instead. So that's 1 free totem with Ancestral Bond. So now we just need a hell of a lot more spirit. So probably easiest way to do this is get some spirit on the amulet, preferably 55 plus, and a sceptre. And since totems are allies, you get allies in presence deal X% increased damage, and you want at least 151 spirit, because if you then add 3 of these grand spectrums with 2% spirit per grand spectrum, we get up to 450. So this is a very heavy investment to even get to that point. And technically, I don't even know if that's really worth it, considering cirels cultivation is 10% more damage per totem. 10% more on these kind of small numbers kind of feels irrelevant. So let's just remove these just for fun. 381. So we lose 10% damage doing this. Anyhow, they also nerfed the gem levels, kind of. So before I was at level 40, now I'm at level 31. So it reduced the totem life by quite a bit. I went from like 40,000 down to 17.7. But I did some math on this, and I'm just going to open up a new calculator. So 17.7 times 0.2, because the totem explodes for 20% of the total life, which means a flat damage of 3,500. If we then multiply by all the increased damage on the tree, which is almost 400, oops, not 4, what am I doing? History. that one. Times 4, sorry, not 400. Fuck. What is happening? 70 times 0.2 times 4. There we go. 14,000 damage. And then we add up the more multipliers on top of it, which should end up around 30 to 40,000 damage. But it also has a cast speed of 0.25 seconds, which means you shoot this out 33,000 or whatever it was, 30 to 40,000, 4 times a second, so up 120,000 damage there, just from the shockwave totem itself. Then we also have the Ancestral Warrior totem. Now that we can use this Ancestral Bond without having charges or any mana or life cost for that matter, which was also an issue, just slamming on, well, next to the enemy, breaking the armor constantly. We also get some extra spirits on the side, just mauling on the enemies. I don't know how effective these will be. I tried checking what they really do, but nothing really screams this is good. Walker reduce 50% increased damage buff to allies. I guess having 50% increased damage to the Ancestral Warrior totems, we have 3 to 5 of them just standing there slamming the enemy. Considering it also buffed Rolling Slam. Has a 1 second total attack time, versus 1.5. First slam deals less damage compared to before, but the second slam now deals also less. But okay, never mind. They just buffed the attack speed. Oh well, I thought it was more on the second, but I'm just dumb. I can't read. Anyway, so my plan is probably just Rolling Slam, Ancestral Warrior Totems with Ancestral Bond until you can get the Tawhoas Tending, and then just start spamming Shockwave Totems in maps. And on bosses or tanky rares, you just drop X amounts of Ancestral Warrior Totems and then spam Shockwave. The only issue with this build is that it uses Giant's Blood, so if you don't want Giant's Blood and can't really sort out the attribute requirements, you can use a one-handed weapon that will lower the melee skills. I haven't really looked into crafting on one-handed weapons, so we can just do that real quick. PoE2, one-handed weapons, mace. So that was also nerfed to, I think it's +3 instead of +4 maximum. But we still have increased damage where I have a totem, and +1 to limit, but that doesn't really do anything for you. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Tawhoas Tending is possible probably to play this league. It will be a hell to sort out the attribute requirements for Giant's Blood, so maybe just go in one-handed weapon instead. Let's just check the patch notes. One-handed is not +3, yeah. No, it's +2. No, that's a perfect essence. What am I saying? Where is the... Is that value +4 previously, +5? Okay, so it's +4. So technically, considering what we do here is that we lose 1 level. And the life drops to 16.5. So it's 1,000 life loss, which is pretty much a flat... what will that be? 16,500 times 0.2. 3,300 hit compared from the 17,700 compared to 3,500, so 200 flat loss. You could also do this on a, what's it called, Titan, just for the effect of passive small kills, more damage against heavy stunned enemies, and whatever you want. If you want more armor or life, that's up to you, since you can't really use Mountain Splitter because we don't use the skills ourselves, and Aftershocks requires you to use the skills yourself, so that doesn't work either. So it just passive skills more damage against heavily stunned enemies, and whatever you want, more armor, more life. But our effective hit pool is kinda fucked. So yeah. Just a small rambling. I think that it's possible to play this build, but it will be a hell to sort out the defenses and resistances. If we run a 100 weapon instead, we definitely can sort out the resistances and probably aim more for defensive instead of having to, well, attributes stack on the gear, so you can add like armor applies to elemental damage or whatever. Just my yapping. I'm done with yapping for today. Thank you for watching this video craft, and I guess I'll see you in the next one.